Alright, this is going to be a video of this 52-inch Canadiana brand ceiling fan that came from my local Habitat Restore. And I actually got it there because, for those who don't know, I volunteer at the Restore, and pretty much what I do for them, in a nutshell, is refurbish ceiling fans that they receive by donation and make them more sellable than how they previously came in. Without any further ado here, I'm actually going to demonstrate the fan and begin with the light kit. As you can see, this is working, and I'm using a single 75 watt halogen spotlight bulb in there. I'll turn that off. Now for the fan itself, starting out with the high speed. And looking at the white piece of tape that I attached to one of the blade brackets to indicate RPMs, I'd say high is probably going to spin close to maybe 210. And as you might have noticed, the fan definitely has a large amount of wobble to it, and that is because the blades are out of alignment, or more specifically the blade brackets. Even after several attempts of trying to realign them, the fan is still rather wobbly. More about that later on in the video, however. Next, for medium speed, I'd say this is going to slow down to roughly 165, maybe 160 RPM, somewhere close to there. And despite the fan being rather wobbly, it is actually quite smooth running, as there's really no bearing noise to it or hum from the motor. And of course, last but not least, the low speed, which I'll be showing with the fan and light on running simultaneously. And this is probably going to spin at about 65 to 70 RPMs. In my opinion, I think it's a little bit too fast of a low speed. Personally, I would have liked to have seen it gone maybe closer to 60 RPM. However, I guess there's really not too much I can do about that. Now I'm going to be turning the fan and light off here. And I'm going to be talking about some general information on the fan. The light kit, surprisingly enough, is actually removable. Definitely not something I was expecting. So it can be installed without light kit. Personally, I actually like it with light kit, just because it looks more proportionate, but installation without is also an option. The fan is actually a blatant copy of the Homestead Wind II, and was apparently sold under the name Canadiana. However, the fan is really unbranded, as there's no proper indication of a manufacturer or label anywhere on the fan, so I really have no way of knowing for sure. Speaking of manufacturers, I believe the fan was actually made in the same factory as some Gwib fans of around the same era. This one happens to be from 1992, and I actually own a 1992 Gwib fan, which has a lot of the same characteristics in terms of motor and wiring. And one last thing to note for the general info is that the down rod is actually a different color than the rest of the fan, because the general color scheme is matte white and matte black. However, the downrod is actually gloss white. I'm wondering if possibly there was a mix-up during packaging, or maybe the previous owners swapped it out. There's really no way of telling for sure, I guess. And to finish off the video, I'm going to be talking about discussing the pros and cons of the fan and what I would rank it out of 5 stars. Beginning with the pros. Overall, it is actually a fairly unique looking fan, even though it is a copy of the Homestead Wind II. Definitely does stand out because it does have some differences, like the blade brackets and blades. Also, it is surprisingly versatile because it can be installed with or without light kit. Like I mentioned, I installed it with light kit just because it looks the most proportionate, but installation without is an option if you don't need the extra light. Also, the blades are reversible. The side that's currently facing down is granite, and on the other side, as you can see, just plain white. And I decided to choose the granite side just because it looks more unique. Even though it really is not my favorite in combination with the white and black, it's just something that stands out and really catches your eye. As for the cons, I find the fan actually to be rather cheaply built. Like I mentioned, the blade brackets are quite flimsy, and even after trying to balance them, they do kind of bend, similar to what you'd find in a Hampton Bay Huntington 3 or some other Hampton Bay Quick Connect fans, for example. And also, the motor is not very large. I believe it's only a 153 by 15. Really, with all the space in the motor housing, I would have expected to see at least a 172 by 18, if not more. And a little thing I might add is that I find the blades are kind of skinny. I wish they would have been wider. Although it isn't really a major thing, it just looks a little bit disproportionate in my opinion. Overall, I'd probably have to give the fan 4 out of 5 stars, pretty much just because of the uniqueness of it, and because these Canadiana fans are not particularly common. Anyway guys, thank you so much for watching. I do hope you enjoyed the video, and if anyone has more information on these, I would greatly appreciate you letting me know in the comment box below. So, thank you so much for watching.